In this episode of Mill Creek Live Today, we sit down with Jeff Laurence, the man behind JL Remodeling, to hear his incredible journey from finance to founding a successful remodeling company with a purpose.
I went to school for finance. I worked in banking and insurance. And around 2001, I came to my wife and I was like, hey, not super happy. It's just doesn't invigorate me. I get up in the morning and I'm not ready to go to work. I just, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And I was like, I would like to quit my job. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I flipped the house, helped out some friends. What about being a contractor?
But Jeff's impact doesn't stop with remodeling homes. He's changing lives, both locally and around the world.
We were in Honduras and we were interviewing a family to see if they qualified and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And they did. One of the things where we tell the family is like, hey, this is not a guarantee for a home. And it could take up to a year to actually get into a house. This isn't a next day situation. And so we were interviewing this family and it was a couple. So it was a husband and a wife and they had 2 kids. And literally the wife told us, she goes, oh, it's going to take that long? These are people living in tarp houses, right, sleeping mostly on the ground. And she goes, actually, the woman over there has 3 small children and she's by herself. She has a greater need than us. And I was just like, wow, what? As far as they knew, they were giving away their one opportunity to get a house. And I was like, man, how do I translate that to the United States?
Through JL Cares, Jeff and his team are helping communities in need, one remodel at a time.
All right, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the program. It's the Mill Creek Live Today podcast. I'm your host, Greg, the Mill Creek guy, Elwin. And once again, we're coming to you from Tapped, our host home here. And shout out to also a guy I know, Greg Elwin Real Estate, who's sponsoring this for us. Mill Creek Live Today podcast. The video's on YouTube, and you can listen to it anywhere you can get podcasts. And so here we are. Once again, I want to welcome a very special guest. We're doing TV, so I'm kind of flustered here because this is actually a legitimate star. Jeff Laurence, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
I mean, seriously, we had Stitch Mitchell, who was a radio guy here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he just put me to shame because he's an interviewer, right?
And he's got a great voice.
Oh, he's got a great voice. But for crying out loud, I mean, you're a TV star.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife said, get his autograph when you're there or something. So anyway, Jeff Laurence from JL Remodeling. It's awesome to have you here. You're a Mill Creek-based area business.
Yep.
And you're a local guy too.
Yep.
Grew up in Edmonds
Grew up in Edmonds, yeah. Moved to big move from Edmonds to Mill Creek.
Yeah.
2000 is when I moved over.
2000.
Yeah. So
24 years you've been in town here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I moved to town in 2016, so
okay.
I'm a third of the way there. So cool. I want to talk a lot about some of the cool things that you do in this community, but I want to get folks the opportunity to get to know you a little bit, because if you've seen him on HGTV, you probably have. You got to get to know the guy behind what's really going on.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about who's Jeff.
I don't know. I'm just a pretty simple guy. I went to school for finance.
Okay.
I worked in banking and insurance way back. And around 2001, I came to my wife and I was like, hey, not super happy. It's just doesn't invigorate me. I get up in the morning and I'm not ready to go to work. I just, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would like to quit my job. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I flipped the house, helped out some friends. What about being a contractor? She's like, do you know anything about being a contractor? And I was like, no, I really don't. And so I spent the next year kind of basically studying, reading, like going to work on job sites for free and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then I just basically opened up my own company in 2001.
Wow.
And just went for it.
Talk about a huge leap of faith, huh? You found something that you thought maybe was your passion.
Yeah.
You didn't know for sure because you'd not done it before. I mean, you've done a little bit.
Sure.
But wow, let's just dive in. Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard, obviously. I lost a ton of money in the beginning. Yeah. I had no idea how to bid things. I didn't know how to do. Yeah, but I had a motto. It was like, do the best job you can every time.
Yeah.
So I would tear something up. I'd go home, read books all about it, how to make sure I put it back together, and make sure it's done correctly. I'd ask advice, ask everybody advice.
Yeah.
There was no YouTube.
Right.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, now it's easy.
Yeah, YouTube you.
Yeah.
That's how I learned to install a hot water tank.
Exactly.
That
it's like,
works.
So, yep, had to learn everything a little bit the hard way, and did. And so,
Wow.
Yeah.
So in business, since 2001.
Yep.
When you started, was it just you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just
So
me.
tell me about your first project. I hung my shingle. I'm Jeff the remodeling guy,
Yeah,
and
right?
it's time for my first project.
Of course, you're hitting up all your friends and family.
Absolutely.
They're all coming to your rescue. Like,
Yep.
hey, well, I know I need this. And I can't even really remember what I did, but I do remember I showed up like in a full overalls with everything. My friend opened the door and he's like, "Oh, okay," or whatever.
Never seen you before like that at all.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
was like full monkey suit,
Trick or treat.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, you just have to work, and it's not easy. I mean, it's not a 40-hour work week. It's it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then when you're done working, you got to go home and do all the paperwork.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
And so now you've built this into, how many employees do you have now?
We've been at about 20 for
Okay.
I don't know, about 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot to take on, because employees and everything that goes along with it, it's not just you that you have to be concerned about.
Oh, no.
Right? You've got 20 families
I know.
and their extended families
Yep.
and their lives that you have
Yes.
to take care of and think about every day.
I know. And we have I think we have 3 married couples where the husband and the wife
Wow.
work for us. So it's like, yes, there's a lot of responsibility, a lot of kids. We had four babies this last year.
Wow.
In our company. Nothing makes me more proud is when like my employees either get married, buy a house, or have a child, because then I know we're doing something right to give them the
Bet.
confidence to keep living and stuff. But we've had most of our employees have worked for us for quite a while. One guy has worked for me for 21 years.
Wow.
So he's been with me for that long. And
Yeah.
so we take good care of him.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you touch on that just a little bit. You mentioned it. It just makes you feel good when you see, because this is your bigger family, right? This is
It
your
is my
extended
family. Yeah,
family. This is, and to see them succeed and to
Yep.
see them be happy. It's
Yeah, but you have to be, I mean, we do a lot of stuff outside of, we do training. We have one-on-ones weekly with them. We have one of our guys, our COO, is certified in counseling. I mean, he's he got a degree, another master's in counseling just recently. So he does one-on-ones, not work-related.
Right.
He talks about finances. He talks about any kind of other issues, and that's all private. So we do a lot of development.
That's incredible.
With our people. The way I look at it as a business owner, the more successful they are in their personal life, the more successful they'll be in their production life.
You bet.
And so, and we look at that with our trade partners too. I mean, that's what we call them. We don't call them subcontractors. They're our trade partners.
Yeah.
We look at their businesses, making sure that they're successful, that their bottom lines are being met, that they're getting the right profitability, that they're charging the right amount. So, I mean, we care about it. And so most of our trade partners have been with us for numbers of years as well. So we have a great relationship with them.
So it goes back to, Maslow and the hierarchy of needs, right? You
Yeah.
got to take care of those basic foundational things.
Absolutely.
Before you can start being successful. And
Yeah.
so if you take care of your people and their families and their needs, and you support and love and nurture, then that just is great for you, for business, but it's
Yeah.
great for them because they get to be part of something really cool.
Right. And so we're very protective of our culture. So it would actually be a lot easier if we just hired another 10 people.
Yeah, you bet.
And we could.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that we have to kind of indoctrinate them into
Bet.
how we think, how we give, what our relationship is to the community, and what's important. And so we're really protective of our culture. It is very difficult to get a job with us.
That's excellent.
So,
Well,
I mean,
you drive by different places that have help wanted signs out, or I drove past a roofing company in Everett the other day that said, "Hey, we need roofing teams."
Oh,
Well,
nice.
those they're going to get people, and they're going to go to work, and that's going to be good for everybody. But it's not culture based.
It dilutes the culture.
100%.
It's really tough when you got this, just a constant flow of new people coming in and stuff. It's really hard. Mm-hmm. So I would say every business owner should really protect their culture.
In our brokerage, Raintown Realty, we have what we call NATO training. And it's not NATO like we think about, but it's new agent training and orientation.
Yeah.
And the idea is, if you're an experienced agent or if you're a brand new, recently licensed agent, we still want you to go through that NATO training. Sure. Because maybe you don't need to learn how to fill out forms, and you don't need to know you've been doing this for 5 years, but you need to know who we are.
Right.
Right. We need to make sure that you're oriented to the culture, and that after that multi-week time frame, sometimes maybe this isn't a good mix, and that's okay. No harm, no foul. But we don't want to. We call it dilute the brand.
Yeah.
We don't want to dilute the brand. We want the brand to be solid. We want people that have shared values and shared interests. Mm-hmm. With different thoughts on how to get there is fine.
Sure.
But shared values, and that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Culture is important.
It's the same thing with our customers, anybody. It's all about expectations. So we're managing expectations. If you know what's expected of you, you know what your measure is. You know 100%. When you're doing well, and you know when you're not doing well.
You bet.
Okay? So, but if you don't know what's expected of you, or you don't know where the economy is going, or you don't know how much things cost, or that people are not uncomfortable. They do not do well when they don't know.
I couldn't agree more that setting expectations for ourselves, right? It starts with me every day. I set expectations for myself on what I want to get done this day, this week, this month.
Right.
But for all the people that we work with, or the people that work for us, or that we collaborate with, I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know what you expect of me when we go do something, so I can make sure that I work to achieve that. And without expectations, people can lose track of what they're doing.
People don't know how to necessarily invest in. You're like, invest in your career. Invest in your career. Well, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Exactly. I had to read. I don't know how many business books I've read. We read probably 4 to 6 a year, and I've been doing that for 30 years. So a ton.
Yeah.
A lot of them are great. There's bits and pieces of stuff, but most people that work in a company have never even read one.
Right.
And and so you have to piece all that together. You have to help them along, because that education isn't just, this isn't given to them.
No.
So, but if they know stuff and they start getting and they start clicking on things, they're like, oh man, okay, now I get it. I understand how making my boss looks good is good for me.
Right.
I understand that. Knowing what the profitability and the bottom line is, and understanding where money comes from and goes out of this company, and it's good for us. We share, everything we do. Every week we have what the company's bottom line profitability is, what the projects are. We have feedback loops on every one of our jobs that talk about what went right, what went wrong. We just had a feedback loop the other day. It was 40% profitability, which is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
We're shooting for 34. And customers have made, great 5-star review on Google. Everything worked out. We hit the calendar right on time, right? We tore that project apart.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, we were a little bit over on drywall, but we were under on plumbing. We were and then how come we had to reorder cabinets for this door? Wait a minute, the door is messed up. Why? How do we do that? How can we protect better? We just, most people would be like, all right, done, we're good.
Yeah. Hey, celebrate 40% on this. That's great.
Everything's a win, right?
Yeah. It's a continuous process improvement.
It is.
Right. And that's how you create a strong, sustainable business, that when it's your time to retire, or it's your time to turn the reins over to somebody else, you've created something that is predictable and sustainable and actionable, and you know what the expectations are, and you've got the right people in the right seats who can then just come in and take this and then rock it on their own.
Absolutely. It's got to function without me.
Right.
It has to. In my mind, if it doesn't function without me, it has no value, because if I leave, then all the value leaves with me.
Right.
So that was one thing that was really great about being on the TV show, is that it was forced. The amount of time that show actually took, which was substantial. I mean, I was working 50 to 70-hour weeks easily on the show. The business had to run. Like, it just had to run.
Right.
So we had to, like, people had to rise to the occasion. And so then in doing that, and when I stepped away from the show, we just made it better. Like, we looked at all our processes and procedures and made them better and better and better. So we become way more efficient on different things. We put people in the right places in the right bus according to their skill sets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we were pretty, I would measure us against any company, but as far as a construction company, I don't know if there's another one like us out there.
That's awesome.
It's pretty neat.
That is cool.
Yeah.
You know, putting the right people in the right seats on the buses can sometimes be a difficult thing, right? Because a lot of times folks don't want to give up their seat, right? They don't want somebody else to take it from them. They also don't want to move the one that they're in. So when you have developed those good, strong relationships and you've put a focus on culture when you brought people onto the team, when it comes time to have those conversations about it's time to change seats, people are much more agreeable to that.
Absolutely.
Because again, they're not doing it for themselves, they're doing it for the greater good.
And they understand that it benefits them. And so when you ask somebody like, hey, you know, if you're telling them what the numbers are all the time, then they already know that if the economy is softening or something like that, it's like, ooh, maybe bonuses are going to be a little less, you know, and stuff, or maybe not at all. You know, maybe we can't get bonuses this quarter or something. So it's like the expectation, if you bring everybody into the conversation, it's more of a teamwork.
You bet.
Yeah, it's just more of a team executing something that we all want to win together.
And people become invested in it, right? I've worked in organizations where, you know, knowledge is power and we're not going to share it, right? We're going to hold on to this stuff. We'll feed you a little bit here and there just to give you enough. And I'm a huge why guy. I always want to know,
why are we doing this?
Why?
Yeah.
And if you work in an organization that is in a vacuum like that, it's super frustrating.
It's hard.
And it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Right? That will fail at some point.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of companies that function that way, and I you know, I don't have all that answer. I'm not that big. You know, 20 employees is not that big, so it's fairly easy to be transparent. You know, I mean, some of these companies, you know, I don't know how transparent you can be with some stuff. People don't understand.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say no. I don't know about sustainable. I just don't know. I don't have enough information to actually give you an educated answer on that.
the whole thing about you wouldn't understand, right? I mean, here I've heard that.
Yeah.
The sheriff's office I worked at all the time, we had a bureau chief, and that was his answer all the time. Well, I tell you, but you wouldn't understand. Give me a try.
Yeah, give me a try.
Give me a try.
It's a little demeaning, I guess.
If you tell me and then I don't understand, okay, you're right. But then explain it to me, because I'm still a why person, right?
Sure.
At least give me enough.
Right.
So yeah, it's great that you run an organization.
Buy-in is definitely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It has to be intrinsic, right?
Yeah.
You can pay people well, you can give them bonuses, and that extrinsic motivation is good, right? I work for my paycheck, I work for a bonus. But if I'm going to get up and come to work every day, I need to have that come from the inside.
Yeah.
I want to come work for you. I want to come work with you. I want to be on this project because this is going to be great. We got a great culture, we got a great team, and it's going to be awesome when we're done.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
You mentioned the TV show, and I mentioned it early on. So what was this TV show? I know what it was, but tell these folks that don't know.
So, I mean, it was Unsellable Houses with a couple of twin sisters out of Snohomish, Washington. They came to me and they said, hey, we'd like to see if you'd want to be a contractor on this thing. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, we crunched the numbers. It's not lucrative at all, especially in the beginning. I mean, we're basically, you know, not making any money on it. But I mean, it was kind of an interesting, like, life experience.
Oh, you bet.
You know, you don't get approached for that very much, and we seemed to gel pretty well, and so it was a lot of fun. I did it for about 4 years.
Cool.
But then I was like, man, I'm kind of getting older, and you know, and stuff, and so we just, you know, I needed to focus more on my business, and I started a nonprofit, and
right.
So all those things, and so we just kind of, you know, naturally moved apart and moved on from it. Yeah. That was fun.
Great experience.
Sure.
Right, a great experience, and you were able to see aspects of business that you otherwise wouldn't have seen. Your aspects of human beings that you wouldn't have otherwise seen, and get exposed to something. and then people like my wife are like, hey, I know that guy, I want an autograph.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
You get recognized around town?
Well, sure. Mostly, it's amazing. Airports, definitely.
Is that right?
Vegas. Anytime I travel. I was in Greece a month ago, and somebody came up to me in Greece. Yeah, and stuff. And it was like, my daughter was with us. She was like, I can't believe this is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cruise ships.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of cruise ships.
Yeah. It's
my demographic.
It's funny, every once in a while, someone will say to me, you look familiar. I'm like, well, you've probably seen me on TV. I'm like, really? No, not really.
Oh,
but you can actually say that.
You say that as a joke.
Yeah, I say it as a joke. Well, I actually did, one of my jobs when I was at the sheriff's office was to be the public information officer. Okay. So I was on, it was never fun. It was always talking about something bad, something horrible happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did a little bit of time on TV, but no, it's mostly just a joke, but you can actually say it, so.
The funniest one is when, hey, you look really familiar to me, and I'm like, yeah, I was on a home recruitment show for a little while. No, that's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it. I think our kids played baseball together. I haven't been to South Carolina. This is my first time to South Carolina, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think so, they just won't believe that that's it. But yeah.
That's funny.
Those are the best ones.
So I want to, you mentioned that you travel quite a bit. And it's not just I'm going on vacation to go put my toes in the sand. I mean, you got to find that time too.
Sure.
But you're getting ready to go on a trip to Honduras, which is going to be similar to some other trips that you've taken around the country. Tell me a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, so we are taking JL Remodeling's crew, or half of our crew, to Honduras November 1st of this year. And what we do is we sponsor a family, and then we go down and we build them a house, usually in the jungle.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for, I started in 2011 building houses in the jungle with a group or a team called Dwellings Now.
Okay.
Fantastic organization. We've built houses in Colombia, Honduras, I think Costa Rica, Panama, Cuba, Mexico. So it's an amazing time. You ever get a chance to go on something like that? Mm-hmm. Definitely do it. You ever get a chance to bring your kid on something like that? That will change your relationship forever.
You bet.
It's pretty neat, and the impact is very tangible. Sometimes you're saving these people's lives.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So the organization is called Dwellings Now?
Yep.
And you're on the board?
I am on the board of Dwellings Now, yeah. Vice president on the board there. Super invested in that. It's a great organization. The island that we're going to is Roatan in November, and I think on that island we're around 200 homes we built.
Wow.
Yeah, just on that island.
Incredible.
Yeah.
200 homes.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat.
Wow. So how do families that need to take advantage of this opportunity, how do they do that?
So it's pretty easy. So what we have on the Dwellings Now website, you can go in and there's biographies of families. So what we do on the islands or different places is that we'll interview families and see if they're eligible. So the eligibility is like, obviously they have a need.
Yes.
That's pretty easy. Mm-hmm. That's the easy one. A lot of them are living in tarps, sometimes just around the actual dump, collecting recyclables or whatever. And that's a pretty normal life for a lot of these people. And
these are families.
These are families, not just individuals. No, and they're not homeless. There's no drugs involved or anything like that. But they just don't have a house, any protection, and so a lot of them is like that. So what we do is we interview them. They can get land a lot of times if they fill out the right paperwork and stuff like that from the government.
Okay.
And their parcel is very small. It's like a 24 by 16 parcel. So it's literally their home takes up the entire parcel of their land.
No setback guidelines here.
No setback. The setback is that it's on a cliff.
Yeah, right.
And like at the edge of a cliff. I mean, we built them where it's been 20 feet off the ground on one side and 6 feet into the ground on the other side.
Wow.
It's only 24 feet long.
Wow.
So, I mean, we're talking like a 70% grade.
Yeah. And you got to get materials there.
We got to get, yes. Not all of them are like that. A lot of them, sometimes we can get a truck close to the house and do a dump, the materials. But yes.
Wow.
So pretty fun.
I was very curious when we were talking about this, about the building techniques,
Yeah.
right? And just my mind as you're talking about building homes in the jungles and all these different countries. I know that I've been to several different countries,
Yeah.
and they build things differently than we build
Absolutely.
around here. But you're kind of bringing our building techniques to these countries.
Yeah, we take a kind of a hybrid approach. So, I mean, materials are very expensive for these people. So if they're trying to do it themselves, it's one stick to hold up this and one stick to hold up that, and
Right.
a bunch of whatever they found for walls. Our stuff is, we use local materials. Honduran pine is what we usually use it, and in Honduras or some of the other jungle facilities because they have a lot of trees. Fairly renewable, it grows fast. And then we just use tin roofs. I mean, there's no insulation, it's not needed.
Right.
Our countries are 75 to 85 degrees pretty much year round.
Yeah.
But some of the other places, concrete. So Mexico, Cuba, stuff like that. There's concrete builds. And so what we did is we actually make our own blocks.
Interesting.
So we got a couple machines imported, and we press our own, like we have a team pressing blocks that for the next team to use. They're like little Lego pieces.
Wow.
Build them all up, stucco the outside, whitewash the inside.
Wow.
So there is different techniques that we use, yeah.
How big are those concrete blocks?
No, they're like this big.
Oh, so like similar to what we have with concrete block here,
Pretty close, pretty close
as
to.
far as size.
Yeah, as far as a cinder block, I would say
Cinder block,
half
thank
of
you.
a cinder block,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know. So we've had a few different ways of building, but our homes are way more structurally sound and engineered properly,
Oh, yeah.
proper foundations, proper posting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Homes Now.
Yeah.
Is it homesnow.com.org?
Dwellings
I'm
Now.
sorry, Dwellings Now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Dwellings Now is the organization that we partner with. And I'm gone with a bunch of different groups where either JL Remodeling has sponsored the house, or I think it's $25,000 for the house. Wow. It's not much. And then it's just a ticket. It's like $850 a person.
How long will this trip in November last?
It's 1 week.
1 week.
It's 1 week. We're so good at building these houses now that if you have a team that's done it before, you probably do it in 3 days. If you have a team that's never done anything before, you'll definitely get it done in 5 days.
But you have an advanced team that will go and do some of the site prep work before you get there.
Yeah, so we have some teams just doing like the pilings, or a lot of times we'll do a slab and raise the house, 10 feet out of the air. So they have like a basement,
Right.
or a second story, or we have to dig into a cliff,
Yeah.
or we have to dig out of a cliff, to like put a house in there.
Right.
So it's, so
Wow.
I have to set all that. So when a team shows up, they'll be like, all the posts, everything will have cured. It's like a month or two earlier, a full deck, and then they erect a house basically.
And you guys are going to build that house in 3 days.
Yep.
What type of plumbing and electrical? Anything in there?
Absolutely, both. So now our houses are fully solar. So that's part of the 25 grand. We have them all shipped down there. So they got a fully operational solar panel that operates enough electricity for the house. We have plumbing, so we have a full bathroom. We put in a septic tank.
Is in.
Already. That's all walled in and everything is down there. So we have a septic tank facility built up, so everything's plumbed that way. Water is delivered water towers.
Okay.
So, because a lot of times, there's no water
Right.
lines going to
No
the
water
walls.
lines there.
So, but they have delivery. So they'll have a pump truck down at the end of the mountain or the cliff.
Run
and
those
they'll
up?
Run it up and fill up everybody's water towers throughout the whole jungle.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah.
What a great trip.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's if you ever have a chance to do it, like I said, go to Dwellings Now, take a look at the biographies from the families. You sponsor a family, set it up.
Wow.
Usually, it takes about a year to raise the money sometimes for a lot of groups, and off you go.
What's the fundraising mechanism for this?
Individualized.
Is that right?
Yeah. I honestly, as far as a team building thing for a company, I don't think there's anything better.
Oh, yeah.
It's a blast. It's a vacation with a purpose, is what it is.
Right.
You're in Roatan, Honduras, some of the best scuba diving and snorkeling in the entire world. On beautiful beaches. You work from like 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. You hang out at the pool, you go to dinner together, you have showers,
Fantastic.
air conditioning. It's not it's not a 5-star resort, but
It's okay.
showers, air conditioning, beds,
Yeah.
so it's an easy trip as far as that's concerned. You're not living in the jungle. But as far as team building, I mean, if you're going to spend, even to ship everybody there, say you're taking a dozen people to go build this house from your team, it's going to cost you no more than $50,000, and it's going to be an experience that, I mean, yeah, you come back and you're.
I was going to say, an
bonded.
experience you can't duplicate, but here you are just duplicating it. You just keep doing this.
Sure. Yeah, I've done anywhere from 1 to, I think for 4 was my biggest year, I think, yeah.
How often do you take JL Remodeling teams?
I'd say every 3 to 4 years. It just depends.
Yeah.
I've taken all kinds of different teams. Youth, couples, families. My kids have gone. All of them but one has gone. Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's pretty fun.
So that is related to my next question. And I want to know about JL Cares, because what you're talking about now is this international effort to house folks that need to be housed, but you also spend a lot of time and effort helping folks around here.
Yeah. And people ask me all the time, it's like, hey, you're spending all this money to help these people in other countries. What about the people? What about the needs here? Stuff like that. And I'm like, well, actually, I've always done a bunch of stuff around here. It's never been completely organized. It's just been helping out.
Right.
But man, we were in Honduras, I think that was where we were. And we were interviewing a family to see if they qualified and stuff like that. And they did. And one of the things where we tell the family is like, hey, this is not a guarantee for a home. And it could take up to a year to actually get into a house. This isn't a next day situation. Like we tell them the whole process, and we're just the interviewees. We post you up. We tell them how we put them on the website. And so we were interviewing this family, and it was a couple. So it was a husband and a wife, and they had 2 kids.
Okay.
And we told them that, and literally the wife told us, she goes, oh, it's going to take that long? She goes, actually, I mean, we have a need. And these are people living in tarp houses.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Sleeping mostly on the ground or whatever mattressy thing they found or built. And she goes, actually, the woman over there has 3 small children, and she's by herself. She has a greater need than us. Wow. And I was just like,
wow.
What?
Wow.
Giving away an as far as they knew, they were giving away their opportunity to get a house.
Right.
And I was like, man,
That's powerful.
It is. And I was like, how do I translate that to the United States? How do I get that? And so, what we've done with our nonprofit is that basically you can't ask for yourself, but you can ask for somebody else. You can sponsor somebody.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody that is that's just gone through something difficult, or has inspired others and is now in a place of need, or has served in their community and has been hit with something, or has inspired you, you don't even have to have a need. We've had other stories like that. Please sponsor them. Yeah. Go to our website, JL Cares, sponsor them, say, hey, and think of what we do as flash remodels or honey-do lists or repairs to make sure that the house is safe and sound.
Gotcha.
And we've done all of those things. So that's basically what we do. And we try to do, our goal is about 15 to 20 of those a year.
Okay.
So we try to do them at least once a month or 2 times a month. It just depends on the size. We've helped other organizations too, like Housing Hope and Cocoon House.
Right.
All these other ones.
So it's a sponsorship thing. I know somebody who this has fallen down, right? It's not safe for them to
elderly,
get up and down there.
Single mom.
Yeah.
They have a need, they can't fix it.
Yeah.
You don't know how to help.
Right.
Let us take care of it.
Yeah.
There's no cost to them. We'll come in. We'll take care of the materials. The team has a blast doing it. We film it. We have a YouTube channel on there. So if you look up JL Cares on YouTube or JL Remodeling, watch some of the shows.
Heck
You'll
yeah.
get a great idea of what we do. And there's some of them Some of them you might need some Kleenex for, because they're pretty tough. They're pretty amazing.
Well, just going back to the original motivation for how can you bring this to the United States, that story is, I mean, that just chokes you up right there.
Right.
Wow. What can people do to help with JL Cares?
Well, I mean, we're a legal nonprofit, so of course, I mean, we take donations. I would say, you know, as far as it's mostly self-funded, but we opened up a nonprofit in 2021, and we've gotten quite a few donations for that. You can join us.
Yeah.
Like you can, you know, we have another one coming up. We would love for you to join us. We've had restaurants cater lunches and things for our team.
Yeah.
Our trade partners will come in and do the plumbing, the electrical. Those are the needs. We've had flooring contractors come in and do the flooring for us. If you know how to do things, that'd be great. But yeah, I mean, so
That's incredible.
You can get involved. Let us know. We'll find something.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. I know that our brokerage, we've got a number of us that spend a lot of time working on projects that, you know, give back to the community and look for folks that need some help. And so I think I might have some people that
that'd be great.
Definitely want to get.
It's very strange. We have our biggest hurdle is candidates.
Is that right?
That's our biggest challenge, is actually finding somebody who has a need.
Wow.
I know.
Because just sitting here, I can think of people who have needs. And
my goal is to get you and everybody else out there to go across the street, talk to your neighbors. You've seen this person struggle for a bit, or their house is in disarray. Go ask them, how can you help?
Right.
I've heard of this company.
Right.
And then go sponsor them on our website. That's what our challenge is.
You know these people. We all know these people.
Yeah.
And there's folks out there who just need a hand.
They do. And dude, we've had, you know, I have one of the best stories, honestly, is this lady who lost her son, 41-year-old son. Just, you know, went through that whole thing, and it was a twin, so she had twin sons. Lost her son.
Ouch! Oh my gosh.
Went through a healing process of maybe 6 to 12 months, and she was super active in her community. She did. She brought meals to, call them the working poor, if you will, or whatever, veterans. She would cook all these things and then drive out with her van and like deliver all these different meals every week. She would do this.
Right.
So she went through that. So she had to shut that down for a little bit because she had to recoup through that. She was about ready to get all that done. They celebrated the son's birthday because the other son obviously is still around.
Yep.
Celebrated the birthday, and the very next day she lost her husband. Her husband died of a heart attack. Just tragic, right? So then she's just wrecked.
Yeah.
And they were in the middle of a kitchen remodel.
Oh no.
Sat that way for a number of years. She did nothing. She's just broken.
Completely broken.
Right? So somebody sponsored her. She was pretty reluctant for letting us come in, and I was, you know, you got to be very respectful. You got to do stuff. But I tell you, man, she allowed us to do this, go into her home, and from the day that we interviewed her for the first time to the execution of the project, which was about a month, her life already turned around. And she cooked this amazing, you know, thing for us because that's what she loves doing.
Yeah.
And then she continued as soon as her house was, you know, was all put back together, you know, and we went in and had a great time. And she went out into the community and started doing what she did before. And it just fed into that. That to me that's an amazing thing. Like,
give her the love and energy that has been taken away from her.
Yeah.
You can't give it all back,
No.
but you can help create that for her.
A little
and
reboot.
Energize her to be able to then, because all the good that she's doing in the community is helping her.
Oh gosh, yeah. And she does. She helps. It's if you go to YouTube, it's Renee's story.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an amazing story.
Wow.
And it was an amazing day. That's probably one of my. There's a lot of good ones, but I mean that was probably one of my favorite ones.
That's incredible.
Just the amount of impact that she has on our community, and we were able to get that going, give it forward, and that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you just think of the number of people that you've touched in a positive way, right?
Yeah.
Renee, obviously, and the people that that she serves,
Yeah.
but your people and you,
Oh, I know.
right?
Right.
The opportunity to do good like that and just see, wow, we had an impact all over the place. This is what it's all about.
So, I mean, you said giving back. I actually don't like that phrase, but it's kind of a hair splitting,
No, I want to
thing.
hear this.
But,
I'm interested.
The way I look at it is that I've been blessed with a certain set of skills, and then it's my responsibility to use those skills.
I love it.
Because if I'm not, I'm kind of not being respectful of my blessing.
Yeah.
That's been given to me.
Yeah, I agree.
And
with that.
so it's like, I look at it as more of a responsibility, and it's what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily giving back. It's just part of what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you were just, I challenge you, if you were just nice to 2 people every day,
Yeah,
open the door, smile, say hi, something,
yeah,
just 2. Look, I mean, we would change the world.
100%.
You know?
That
If
is
everybody
so,
was nice to just 2 people.
it is so infectious. It's so infectious.
Yeah.
It's the tell 2 friends, tell 2 friends, tell 2 friends thing, right?
Yeah.
It's be nice to do, who would then turn around and be nice to 2.
We could change the entire country in a day.
And so, the whole giving back thing, done. I because it's really responsibility.
It
Right?
is.
I owe it to everybody around me to share. I got surplus. I need to share my surplus.
Or you have a certain set of skills, not even a surplus. Just maybe it's your character or your attitude or your,
Yeah.
your friendliness or your laugh.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean-
Just give something to somebody.
Yeah.
Ah, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I love that. That's why JL Cares works, right?
Yeah.
That's why your work around the world works, because we talked a little bit ago about intrinsic motivation. It's all from your inside, man. It's all from your soul. It's all.
Well, it's also part of the culture of who we are. So one of the great things,
I get that
JL
culture, but I
Cares.
want to talk about you,
Yeah.
Jeff, though, right? Because Jeff is the point of the spear on this, and you have brought your team, and you've selected your team because they share those values.
Yeah,
And
it's true. I mean, like I said, yeah, it's true. Sure. But I mean, I don't do this alone.
no,
I'm just kind of the idea guy, and I work hard and execute as well. But it's like, I couldn't do all these things if I didn't have an amazing team around me.
Yeah, 100%.
And I can't take all that credit.
no, but at least the point of the spear credit. Yeah.
Sure, the idea, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I mean, some of it. But man, I mean, my team, they've helped me execute so many things.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the people that I've met some of your folks, and the people that you've surrounded yourself with, and the culture that is clear in your business and in your organization. You can't do it by yourself.
No.
You're blessed and fortunate to have all these wonderful people that
And my
are on
wife.
the team, and your
My wife.
your immediate family and your
Yeah,
extended family.
Exactly. Yeah, my whole family too. That takes away time that could be hers.
You bet.
So it's like, sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sacrifice she's given over the years, for sure.
But for greater good.
Sure. Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, it's hard. That's a hard measure.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We'll wait till I'm done.
Well, she's still with you, so
Oh,
you're doing
yes.
something, right?
Yep. Yeah, we've been married 30 years.
30
yeah.
years, right? You
Yeah.
just had your 30th anniversary.
We did.
Yeah. Congratulations on it.
Yeah, it was fast.
Yeah.
Quick,
That's
30 years.
incredible. Jeff, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man. Thank
This
you.
has been a
Thanks
heck
for
of a lot
having
of fun. You all, check this out. Go download it, listen to it, watch us on YouTube, and we're just 2 guys having fun. It's Mill Creek Live today. Love you, everybody. Peace, and have a great day. Bye-bye.